Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother ears.
Good evening and welcome to episode 125 of the Stone Age Gamer podcast for the week of November 11th, 2016. I am Kris Randazzo, and with me tonight is a special fill-in guest, returning champion Mr. Mike Sheridan.
Castlevania.
Dan is out on a temporary leave, and I'm extremely tired, so I'm probably going to slur some things this evening. But anyway, our original NPR thingy we had planned going for tonight is just going to have to wait a few weeks because I can't do it without Dan. We made preparations and notes and things, and it was delightful. So until he gets back, Mike and I, for this week, are going to be spending a little bit of time talking about the Retro Bit Generations console. But before we get to all that, here is your weekly reminder that you can email us at mail@geekade.com. And let us know what you think of our show, what topics you would like us to discuss in the future, or just say hello, because we always want to hear from you, the listener. So, Mike, how are you?
Not too bad, can't complain too much. Been keeping busy.
That's good. Yeah, two of us have done, we obviously keep in touch. You've had some pretty cool additions to your game collection lately, right?
Yeah, nothing major, but added to the numbers, trying to get to that 1,000 goal.
Nice. You'll be hooking me up with a Dino Ricky pretty soon. I'm pretty jazzed about that.
Yeah,
get my very own Dino Ricky in my house, in my home, to hold and love and not play until I finish Axiom Verge, because I have to finish that game. It's really good. Very, very good game. So, yeah, all right. We want to talk about the Retro Bit Generations because, Mike, you and I were having a conversation earlier that you're really interested in getting this thing, right?
Absolutely.
All right. I think that it's probably going to be a steaming pile of turds, but the one thing that we can agree on is that this games list is freaking bananas.
Yeah, very, very wacky.
I mean, it's hard to argue with these kinds of numbers. I'm really interested to know what versions a lot of these things are, and I don't know. So what we're going to do is there's like 90 some odd games on here, and we are going to run down the list and give some quick thoughts, impressions, feelings, and whatnot. So it's all in alphabetical order. So let's go ahead, and I think the halfway point looks to be around Jim Power. So Jim Power is where we're going to call it the halfway point. So let's start from the start. Mike, 1942.
Very, it's a standard game. 1942 and 43. From what I read, most of these are arcade ports.
Okay, that is interesting, because I would like to think that these are mostly going to be the arcade versions of these games, particularly the Capcom stuff. That makes sense. 1942, 1943, and 2048.
Yeah.
2048 being like the third sequel of this series of games, but takes place in the future. Let's see. 1942 is... These games are top-down shooters. They're pretty cool. I liked 43 a lot. I remember digging 1942, and then I remember really digging 1943. I can't remember if you could do the lightning thing in both of those games.
I think that was 43?
I know you can do it in 43. I don't know if it's in 42.
Yeah, because I don't think they had that in 42.
But I only played the arcade versions of these like once or twice when they came out on compilation discs. Later, I had these games on NES, and
yeah, they've been thrown around on like everything.
Except 2048. I didn't even know. I'm so tired. I didn't even know that 2048 was a thing until like quasi recently. So that's kind of neat. All right, so there's 3 big old thumbs up for us. Next game on the list, though, kind of confuses me. I mean, I've never really looked into this game much, but the next game on the list is 10 Yard Fight, which I did not realize was not a Nintendo game, because it was a black box NES game, but I didn't realize it was third party. So, have you played this at all, like in any format?
I saw it at Digital Press today, but that's it. I've never played it.
I have also never played it. I own it.
Of course you do.
I mean, it's a black box NES game, and I thought the only real third-party ones of these. This is an IRAM game. Ha ha ha!
I think there's a few IRAMs, like a good chunk of IRAM games.
Yeah, I know R-Type's on here. We'll get to that, but I didn't realize this was an arcade game. It just came on Famicom and MSX. Ain't that something? And the arcade in 1983, it seems. In 1985 for the NES. It's gonna be a fun show. Woo. It's gonna be such a good evening because I'm recording another episode right after this one. Oh, scheduling is fun. All right, so this doesn't give me a 0.2 or against this particular machine. It's not Tecmo Bowl. I haven't heard a lot of people that are just like, yeah, 10-yard fight, man. I remember that game and love it to death.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a big selling point for them on this.
No. All right, next up is Aguna.
No idea.
Yeah, me neither. Never heard of it. Let's see. Aguna. Let's look to the good world of Wikipedia. That is very much not what we're talking about, because that's not a video game. I've never heard of this before. I don't even know what this could possibly be.
Yeah.
Aguna. What are you? You are a mystery. What about Moby Games? Do you have something on this? What is Aguna? I'm going to say it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up. What do you think it is?
Platformer.
Really? Wow. Crap baskets. It's not on Moby Games either. All right. Well, Aguna. Well, whatever it is, I'm sure it's fantastic.
Email us. Tell us what you think it is.
Yes. Do you know what Aguna is? Please tell the Stone Age Gamer, for we do not know. All right. Next up, we have Alfred Chicken and Alfred Chicken Game Boy. This is another game that I have, and I've always wanted to play, but I got it like really late, and I bought it because I used to want to play it when I was a kid, and I still have never gotten around to playing it. I am fascinated by this because some of these games have little NES parentheticals next to them, meaning that they are the NES versions of these games, and this one doesn't have that. It does next to the Game Boy version of it. So we've got the Game Boy version, and was there an arcade version of Alfred Chicken? I don't know. That's insanity. But I think Alfred Chicken, Fradchicken, that's how you spell Alfred Chicken, and this was a Mindscape. Mindscape published it, as did Sunsoft. And no, this it's got to be the NES port because, well, I mean, it came out for Amiga CD32, NES, Game Boy, and Super NES. But the Super NES one was called Super Alfred Chicken, so that ain't this.
No, it sounds pretty super, though.
It sure does. Super and or duper. And nope, Super Alfred Chicken is also on this list. We will get to that later. So we've got the NES, Game Boy, and Super NES versions of what appear to be the same game, all on the Retrobit generations. That's getting your money's worth.
Get all your flavors.
All your flavors of chicken. Wishing I had some chicken-flavored air conditioning. Apocalypse 2, because 1 wasn't enough. I've never heard of this game. Have you?
Nope.
Nope. All right, cool. Let's say it's a shooter.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, let's look it up. Let's see if Apocalypse 2 shows up. APOCAYPSE 2. What do you got for me, Moby Games? Ooh, nope, Zombie Apocalypse 2.
That's what came up for me when I looked it up.
Like, I know the PlayStation game with Bruce Willis that's called Apocalypse. There's a ZX Spectrum game called Apocalypse. Oh, there's a game called Apocalypse Cow. That's kind of funny. That is funny. I'm going to pretend that this is Apocalypse Cow, and that's a definite point for the Retrobit generations. Good job, guys.
Nailed it.
Next game is Argus.
Pretty sure that's a top-down shooter.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Isn't that where Rygar takes place?
I think so.
Did you just die?
I did. Well, my phone did.
Oh, well. Fascinating. I'm going to go ahead and say that I don't know what Argus is. Let's see. Entertainment Argus is the thing. There's a 30 Rock thing. There's a character in Mortal Kombat named Argus. Argus, a 1986 Famicom game by NMK. It is a scrolling shooter.
Woo!
Is that what you guessed?
Yeah.
I
Well, I think
you
it's
win.
a top-down shooter.
That scrolls close enough.
Yeah.
What do you win, Mike?
A sip of my beverage.
Good times. Astro Hawk.
I think another shooter.
Yeah, probably. Another game that I want to like because, I mean, Astro Hawk, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, does that mean that it is a hawk from space, or is this a...
First picture, it's a spaceship shooting in space.
Okay, cool. Another space shooter. All right, so we're hitting the space shooters pretty hard right now. Ooh, Astynax. I know this one.
This one's fun.
Astynax. I can picture the cover. I don't know if I've ever played this game. I didn't know this was an arcade game. Really?
I think that's why this is a
Fascinating.
good selling point for me. Because what you're getting with the NES Classic is the home games. You know what
Yeah.
you're getting. Straightforward. This is a lot of arcade ports, so that's fun.
That's interesting to me. Yeah, it's really going to come down to how well they play and how decent the system feels.
Yeah.
We've got Avenging Spirit.
Love that
that's another good one. Avenging Spirit, go team. Banishing Racer.
I'm going to say it's a racing game.
See, now I think that's a football game, but let's find out. Banishing Racer. I've never heard of this before.
Game Boy.
It's another freaking Game Boy game?
Yeah. Made by
Banger
Jalico or Jalico, however you like to
Jalico.
say go.
I've always been of the mind that it's pronounced Jellicoe. Those are the fine people who brought us Goal, a great soccer game. All right, neat. Banishing Racer. All right,
It looks
Then-
like a platformer
really
car. Yeah.
like Blaster Master, huh?
Yeah.
I love Blaster Master.
Ooh,
All right.
a submarine.
That's kind of neat. Where are you seeing that on?
I typed it into Google. Google Images.
R-A-C-E-R. Oh, there it is. Banishing Racer. Yep, Game Boy. All right.
That looks like fun.
I was exclusively in Japan. Released on July 26, 1991. Was also sold around Hong Kong. The game allows the player to take control of an animated car against numerous enemies that must be jumped on to defeat in a fashion similar to Super Mario Land. Okay, that's awesome. I want to play this game. Then we've got a couple of bases loaded games. You've got Bases Loaded for Game Boy, Bases Loaded for NES, and Bases Loaded 2. Why do you need the Game Boy and the NES versions of Bases Loaded on here? I don't know, but
All your flavors.
yeah, I guess. Bases Loaded is fantastic. Big thumbs up to Bases Loaded. Big fan of the show. All right, we need to keep this moving along. Boy, this is a
It's a hefty
thing.
list.
Bashi Bazook Morphid Masher.
I want to look that up.
Man, all right, I'm just looking down this list. So, all right, there's that one. I don't know. Battle Squadron. I'm sure I would know if I saw it. Battle Unit Zeoth. Big Run. And then we get Bionic Commando.
Bashi Bazook. That looks ugly.
Ugh. It sounds ugly. A Morphoid Masher. What's a Morphoid?
That's what it is. That's it.
That's what it is.
Yeah. It's
So, all right, let's see. Battle Squadron, Battle Unit Zeoth, Big Run. All right, so Bionic Commando, which is an awesome game, but this is probably the arcade game and not the superior NES game. So,
yeah.
good times, but not great times. The Black Bass and the Blue Marlin.
It could be the black base.
It could be the Black Bass.
Yeah.
I'm familiar with Black Bass and Blue Marlin and their eventual sequel, Black Bass with Blue Marlin. Yeah, they're fishing games. Good times.
It's a thing.
Brawl Brothers, that's a good one.
Absolutely.
Broken Circle, never heard of it. Captain Commando.
That
now
was
that's
the thing
a winner.
that was like, I need this. I need it.
Yeah. Captain Commando is a cool one. I am very happy to see that game on this list. That was also on the Capcom Classics Collection. Was that what it was called?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a nice disc. This one makes me pretty happy too. City Connection. I love City Connection, and especially if this is the arcade version, which I've never played. I used to rent the NES game all the time because you can roll into cats and just run them over and they fly through the air and make a funny song. And you're shooting oil cans out of your jumping minivan. Like, this is a weird game. And it features smoking very heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, if this is the arcade version of City Connection, that's a damn good game. So, cool. Wow, I just kind of skipped ahead a little bit there. That's going to be fun. Next up is Commando, another classic Capcom game. Top-down shooter, really, really awesome. And then we have Cornbuster.
No idea.
Yeah, me neither. And if I wanted to move on to the next one is Creepy Bird. So we've got Cornbuster and Creepy Bird. And Dork and Imp. What in the world? That might be the 3 strangest titles in a row I've seen all day. Cornbuster, Creepy Bird, and Dork and Imp.
They got a lot of fluff on this thing.
Yeah, clearly. Escape from Atlantis. That sounds like an Aquaman game.
Yeah.
Espercore. Sure. X's, I know that one. I've
Sounds
played
familiar.
that. That's a Capcom one. I'm pretty sure that's a Capcom joint.
Was that a shooter of some sort?
I believe so. I'm 84% sure. It has a very specific number. EXEDEXES. X to X's is an arcade game that was released in 1985 by Capcom. It is a vertically oriented scrolling shooter. It was originally released in North America as Savage Bees. Oh, man. Why wouldn't you keep that name?
It's so much better.
Savage Bees.
Sounds like an awful 80s metal band.
We're Savage Bees, opening up for Metallica. We are Savage Bees. We pollinate the Savage Garden.
There's a tour.
Yeah. Savage Bees and Savage Garden. Macho Man Randy Savage.
All the Savage.
He had a rap career, right? Didn't he do like a rap album, Macho Man?
All I know is that he was all about the Slim Jims.
Feel the excitement?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. I can't believe there was a game called Savage Bees and they changed it to X to X's. Why would you do that? You let me down, Capcom. You let me down.
Poor choices.
All right, back to business. Exerion. No idea. Field Combat. Field Combat, okay. Forgotten World?
Really?
I thought the game was called Forgotten Worlds.
That's what it is called.
FRGOT Worlds. This is great podcasting right here, by the way.
Absolutely.
Like, listening to us type things into Wikipedia. Yeah, it's Forgotten Worlds if it's the game I think it is, because I don't know of a game called Forgotten World.
No, it's Forgotten Worlds.
Yeah. So,
They
good
just have a
job.
bad editor.
Good job on the copy editing there. Website for Retrobit Generations. Just, cards on the table. Retrobit Generations is being, like, distributed by the fine folks at Retro Magazine, including our favorite on this show, Mike Kennedy. So that's one of the big things that really made me lose a lot of interest in this particular device, was when they announced a little bit of a partnership with that company, because I'm not really into that.
Captain Commando.
So Forgotten Worlds, Formation Z, that's another one I've heard of. I feel like that's another shooter. Fortified Zone is cool. I wonder if that's the Game Boy version or if there's some sort of fancier version, because I actually downloaded the Game Boy version on the 3DS eShop back when it first started, and it's a pretty cool game. It's like a top-down shooter, stealthy type game. Remind me a little bit of the second Metal Gear NES game, Snake's Revenge, but like better.
Formation Z is weird.
Yeah?
Yeah, it from what I'm seeing, it's like another shooter, but the backgrounds are just hideous.
Ooh. That's fun.
Yeah, not a selling point for me.
All right, Free Fall, don't care. Gadget Twins. All right, that sounds neat. But it's hard to pay attention to that because the next one is Ghouls and Ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
Classic. That's a winner right there. I mean, it's hard, but that's a winner. But even the bigger winner, as far as I'm concerned, is Gunsmoke.
Yes.
Having the arcade version of Gunsmoke on here. That is a great game. Love that game. Hammer and Harry. I feel like I should know more about that game than I do, but it's not ringing a lot of bells right now.
That was a Super Famicom game only, right?
Maybe?
Oh, it was apparently also on the Game Boy.
Son of a bitch. That Game Boy, getting all up in your business.
Yeah. Full of flavor.
Yeah. Hero Pinball Party.
I like heroes, I like pinball, and I always like to party.
Yeah, I mean, those three words, how can that not be a winner?
Yeah.
Higimaru, clearly an American game. Holy Diver.
That was another big one for me on there.
I'm unfamiliar with Holy Diver.
From what I am recalling, it was a Famicom game only, very similar to Castlevania, very difficult, and based around like 80s metal people like Dio, and I think like there's like Ozzy references in there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this game. I do know of this game. Oh, neat. All right, yeah, that's a winner. That's pretty cool.
The repro
Hoops?
cards for those are expensive.
Yeah. Hoops, decent basketball game. Go team. Ikari no Yosai 2. I'm going to just go ahead and say that's Ikari Warriors 2.
It's also, in parentheses, Fortified Zone 2.
Shit, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't have that on my screen.
You and me are on different screens, I think.
We sure are. Zany. All right, well, that's neat. I didn't know there was a
It looks like a
sequel
weird
to
contract.
Fortified Zone. All right, cool. The Ignition Factor. The Ignition Factor. Ooh. Our producer, Evan, has just sent me a link. What does it say, Evan? A 70-game leap beyond the NES Mini. Yeah, okay. Better list. If you say so. This thing's like not loading up. Come on, you can do it. There we go. It's still in alphabetical order. This is probably one you're looking at. There it is. Yeah, Fortified Zone 2. Neat. Image Fight.
Sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah, you fight images.
That's it.
Do it. And then meanwhile, on Jajamaro no Daiboken.
I think you nailed that. Sound appropriate.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Sounds nice. I think that's a winner. What are you? Ooh, it's a ninja game, and there's a frog, and a demon, and it was a Famicom game. Never released in America. Oh, indeed. Collect 50 souls to get an extra life. That is all I need to know about that game. 50 souls equal 1 life.
Yeah, you got a 1-up. That is the bonus feature you put on the box.
And the last game before we skip to our commercial break is Jim Power. Max Power's cousin. All right, what in the world is Jim Power? What is this?
That's going to be a fun Google search.
Jim Power in Mutant Planet, a 1992 platform game for the Amiga, or Jim Power The Lost Dimension in 3D, a 1993 platform game. This does not specify which Jim Power. This is a freaking franchise, and I've never heard of it before.
None of the games look pretty, let me tell you. It's all pretty ugly.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we're going to nail down games 48 through 96 and do a brief talk about the system itself and what it looks like and all that other jazz. You are listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com, so stick around. And now here's a look at some of the other original content available right now at Geekade.com. First up, Geekade's monthly X-Men podcast is back, and with all the mutant-related news Marvel's been coughing up lately, it was a packed show to be sure. There's Death of X talk, some Japanese, gold balls, and Jonathan's tears. Don't miss the all-X-themed action and likely incredibly foul language in Mutant Musings Episode 4, Spice World.
Next, Geekade's monthly gaming podcast is back, and with all the phlegm its hosts have been coughing up lately, it was a packed show to be sure. Our Intrepid heroes fought through their colds and talked unearthed arcana, Trivial Pursuit, Cranium, and more. Don't miss all the gaming-themed action and incredibly sick hosts in You Shall Not Pass Go, Episode 9, Down with the Sickness.
Oh, I'm down with the tiredness. Then, Geekade's weekly comic book podcast is back, and with all the everything Dan has been coughing up lately, it was a packed show to be sure. Well, it wasn't packed with Dan because he wasn't there, much like tonight, because he was sick. So Genghis from You Shall Not Pass Go filled in, and they all talked about anime and manga. Don't miss all the Japanese-themed action in Paper Cuts issue 108, Jenga, with an is at the end.
Finally, Geekade's weekly TV podcast is back, and with all the nothing Yahoo Screen has been coughing up lately, it was a packed show to be sure. Chris made his fellow TWEP casters.
It said Twebcasters. Sorry.
Watch one of the two original shows on the already defunct Yahoo Screen, Other Space. It's weird and kind of funny, not unlike this podcast. Don't miss all the MST 3K style action in this week's episode 57. No, there's no title for it yet because they just recorded it last night.
Evan, would you like to amend that? Is there an episode title for that yet? Evan's clearly dead. You can catch all this great stuff plus tons of other articles, videos, podcasts, and more right now at geekade.com.
Karen, the aptly named bitch.
And we are back. We didn't take much of a break because breaks are for sissies. Jim Power was the last one we talked about. So next up is Kaitetsu Yanchumaru 3, or Kid Nicky 3. I see Kid Nicky 1 on this list too. Kid Nicky Radical Ninja. That's a cool game about a kid with spiky hair and a pair of scissors. What's not to love?
Yeah, it's all you need.
Kickle Cubicle. That's another neat game.
Absolutely.
I think. I have that game. Anyway, all right. Knights of the Round. Sorry, we gotta blast through these. All right, we gotta blast through them, Mike. You ready?
Absolutely.
Kung Fu.
That's all you need.
All right, here's a question. Kung Fu and Kung Fu Master. I was always under the impression that Kung Fu for NES is a port of Kung Fu Master, the arcade game. Is this that, like the NES game and the arcade game, back to back, or is there a different game called Kung Fu I don't know about?
Probably the NES port and then the arcade port. Knowing how this list has been going. All the flavors.
Oh, there's flavors. That's another IREM joint, though. That game's awesome. I have the Atari 2600 version of it, which is surprisingly apt. Like, it is a good version of that, believe it or not. Landmaster, no idea. I'm going to say it's a guy who's really good at LAN parties.
Yeah.
Lawnmower, which I'm hoping is nothing more than a lawn mowing simulation.
No, it's just a picture of a lawnmower.
It's just a picture of lawnmower.
That's it.
Press button to pull start. The end. Legend E.
The sequel to Legend D.
That's right. Major Title Golf. I don't know what the title of this game is, but it's going to be major. Maru's Mission.
Very Japanesey sounding.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I hope that's not like really supposed to be Mars Mission and they just phonetically typed out Maru's Mission. Mezizam. Wow, this is not going well for me because I don't know most of these games. I do know Mercs. There you go.
A fun one.
We got Mercs. That's a good one. That's a decent game. But then we followed up with, what is this? Mr. Bloopy?
Sounds adorable.
It does. All right, let's look that one up. That one deserves to be looked up. Look up Mr. Bloopy.
Oh, it's a Super Nintendo game. And you're a blue ball, it looks like. All bloopage. Bloopy is pretty appropriate.
That does it. That's your winner. So the rest of this is just gravy because Mr. Bloopy happened. Night Defender 2.
Sequel to Night Defender.
When the first one's not defendable enough. Ninja Jaja Morokun. Isn't that the game? Is that one of the... I'm going to say that's Kid Nicky 2. I'm making that up right now. There, I'm calling it. The state of... Anyway, Onslaught. Which is what this is right now. This is an onslaught of games. Operation Logic Bomb.
Yeah, that's a thing.
What is this? Is this a bomb defusing simulator? What in the world is Operation Logic Bomb?
Does that one deserve a lookup?
Whoa, the box for this game is incredible. It's a Super Nintendo game. And Operation Logic Bomb. I love you. You look like another Fortified Zone type of situation. And it's from Jalico, so it probably is somehow related to Fortified Zone. That's neat. I didn't know this was like a whole stinking franchise. The things you learn, huh?
The more you know.
The Peacekeepers, that's a Super Nintendo game. I have that. It's pretty rad.
Is that a beat 'em up?
Yeah, we played that at your house. That was part of that big collection I got. Pinball Quest, that's
fun.
A winner.
Yeah.
I like that. Quest Forge.
Forge and
I
Quest.
hope that is people questing to make a sword.
That can work too.
Or it's like a quest to find Forge from the X-Men.
That would be even better.
First 2 minutes of Quest Forge for the NES on YouTube. All right. Impress me, Quest Forge. By Order of Kings. Press start. Okay. Oh, it's a Zelda clone.
Nice.
Sort of? Nope. There's hit points and... What in the world? This is weird. Yeah, it's like... oh, God, this reminds me of Hide-Lide, but not in, like, a horrible way. Oh, you know what? I've had about enough of this. That's all the time we have for that today. R-Type 3, winner. Gotta love R-Type. Hooray for R-Type. Ring King, the only boxing game where a tiny Richard Simmons look-alike gives your boxer a BJ in between rounds. Rival Turf. Good
Another
times.
beat 'em up.
Yep. Another beat 'em up. Rockfall.
Sounds dangerous.
Quite. Rocky Rodent. Sounds like an ice cream flavor. No, that's like a... Awesome Possum's the it was like the all recycling one. I don't remember. I can picture Rocky Rodent. He's like hideous looking. And
Oh,
I think
yeah,
he wears like
yeah.
a runner's
No,
outfit or something.
Yeah, he has a
Garbage like
mohawk.
that.
He's the one with the mohawk.
What? Okay, sorry, I gotta look this one up. I want to know what Rodland is. That sounds pornographic.
Yeah, good
Welcome
luck on
to
that.
Rodland, land of rods. Oh, it's like okay, very Japanese. Did the Full House theme? Never mind.
Yep, that happened.
It certainly did. I'm sorry, everyone. This is a weird episode. Skip and Friends. We're going to skip over that one. Ha! Smart Mouse. Soul Dam Sun. There's a good one. And just because I'm already really bored of what we're doing here. Sumo Slam. Super Bases Loaded 3. Really, we needed more that's 5 bases loaded games on here. Or Super Earth Defense Force, that's pretty cool. Super Ghouls and Ghosts, that's a real winner. That is
Absolutely.
a phenomenal game.
Oh, you're gonna like the next one.
Super Noah's Ark, yeah. Why are you here? Super Professional Baseball 2. Boy, they really like baseball in this thing. Super R-Type, that's a winner. Sword of Sodan, that's a winner. Thor's Quest, totally rad.
That is totally rad.
Oh, they have Tough Enough on here. That game's terrible.
Are you tough enough?
It's the full title, I believe, is Hey Punk, Are You Tough Enough? Ugh. Street Fighter clone. I remember renting that one from my local rental shop back in the day when, the whole Street Fighter craze was going on. And I remember renting that one and being like, this is the cheapest knockoff of Street Fighter. This is garbage. Varth, Operation Thunderstorm.
Sounds
Water
like
Margin.
another metal band.
It does. Yang Warrior Family. Yokai Club, Zippy Race, and Zooming Secretaries.
Wow.
Okay, yeah, we're looking up that one because that's the last one. Zooming Secretaries. What? It's a homebrew game. What? That's weird. Huh. All right. Well, boy, this is a weird list, huh?
Very weird.
So, looking at the system itself, I don't know. It's not an extraordinarily attractive box. It's not unattractive. I think the thing that really gets me on this one is the reused controller. Like, it is repurposed a Genesis 3 controller.
Yeah, but it makes it so you have all the buttons you need.
It does. It's a decent enough layout, but even the ones that came with the Sega 3 felt very cheap. And if that D-pad is anything like the floating D-pad on that particular Genesis controller, that's not a great D-pad.
This might be compatible though with other USB powered controllers though.
That would be pretty cool, because I would imagine that with all these arcade ports, somebody's going to want to plug an arcade stick into this thing.
Yeah.
It's got AV out and HDMI out. That's pretty cool. It's got an SD card slot. On paper, a lot of this thing looks cool. There's just something about it. I think it's the combination of the controller and the ties to retro that really kind of make me nervous about this thing. I know Dean's going to do a whole bit on Bit Bites about it. Talk to me a little bit about your overall feelings on this thing.
I've seen some comparison videos on the interwebs. The ports come out visually good, coming out sounding great. The console itself looks pretty dinky. Mm-hmm. Like you said, the controller, it's pretty crappy, but looks like it's going to be able to be compatible with other USB power controllers. I'm very excited by the big titles that are on it. There's a whole shit ton of fluff.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of fluff. There could be some real winners in there in that fluff of just like games I don't know.
It'd be a fun night of hanging out, going through them,
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun. How much is this guy, do you know?
Same price as the NES Classic.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See, now I still find the classic NES Classic Edition to be... I know that thing is of really crazy quality. I do appreciate the just absolute insane list of games that's on this thing. I mean, Super Ghouls and Ghosts is a great game, but you can get that in so many places already.
Yeah.
I think it's just the fact that this has so many weird games in one place is what really makes it interesting, at least to me. But again, not enough to really spend the money on it. And if I had to choose one over the other, I'd probably choose the NES Mini because I'm such a Nintendo whore.
Right.
Having just the physically tiny NES Mini, I just
adorable.
want one. It is precious. It's so precious. All right, well, there you have it, folks. That's the NES. That's not the NES Mini. That's the Retrobit Generations in a nutshell. This episode came together within the matter of a half an hour. Dan had to back out of the show last minute, and we pieced this together. So I'm sorry this was such a weird episode, but really a huge thank you to Mike. Thank you for joining us and filling in for Dan tonight.
Anytime.
Awesome sauce. So that's our show. Join us next week where I will also have another fill-in for Dan because we're recording the episode in about 5 minutes where it's going to be me and Dean, the Vest Lord, coming back for a little guest spot. And the two of us are going to talk about some reproduction boxes and stuff. It's going to be hopefully at least as interesting as this episode.
Ooh.
So once again, you can get in touch with us at mail@geekade.com, as well as all flavors of social media that we inhabit. You can like us on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Geekade, subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch channels for all our latest video content, and follow us on Twitter at _Geekade. You can also find us individually on Twitter. I am at Geekade Kris, that's Geekade Kris, and Mike is available at...
I think I'm the Nintendo dude.
I think you are too.
Yeah.
If you're interested in more information about anything we discussed tonight, be sure to check back with our show notes. And while you're at it, you can also subscribe to this and any of our other wonderful podcasts on iTunes or Stitcher, where if you're super duper nice, you can leave us a review because any and all feedback is welcome and appreciated. Just don't review this episode. I'm very, very tired. We'd also like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. And we'd like to thank Mark TDK Knight for our show's theme. You can check him out on SoundCloud and Bandcamp or on his website, which we have a link to in the show notes. Again, always remember to keep your eyes on geekade.com, where we post something new every single day. Thank you again for listening, everybody. And on behalf of myself, the absentee Dan, and my wonderful, delightful co-host this evening, Mike Sheridan,
Woo.
keep playing games.